especially as most of us hail from the rural areas, raised by rural women, raised by rural solidarity. I am an example. I don't know about others. I am a very, very rural girl, born in a village, raised in a village, raised by a community to be who I am today. And rural women are bow to you today. In recognition of my mother, my grandmother, my aunties, my friends of the rural area that are promoting the development of our own countries. It is a Sunday, and I take this opportunity to recognize everybody that is here that has decided to congregate here today in recognition of the rural woman that we are celebrating, as we have heard in songs, in drama, and in all what has been presented to us. As we gather to celebrate the International Rural Women's Day, we stand unified in the common belief in the great contribution of rural women to Rwanda's illustrious socio-economic transformation and leadership that are recognized as a model at both the regional and the international levels. This year's International Rural Women's Day is celebrated globally under the theme, Rural Women Confront the Global Cost of Living Crisis. And this theme at the international level is in recognition of the fact that rural women are contributing a lot to the food value chains and value systems around the world. In Rwanda, based on our statistics and evidence, we are celebrating this day under the theme, Financing Rural Women's Empowerment. And this is in recognition of the critical need to invest in rural sector, as well as promote rural women's access to financial resources, information, and services, which are all very important for their socio-economic empowerment. Honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, we can never emphasize enough the role and contributions of rural women to agriculture, to food security, to environmental management, to community well-being, and to social cohesion. Rural women are the unsung heroines of the agri sector, playing a pivotal role in ensuring food security and nutrition for homes and for our nation. Recent data from the Institute of Research indicates that 80.1% of households in Rwanda are in the agricultural sector. Of these, 89.5 are female-headed households. Their great contribution to a sector that accounts for 90% and more of the country's economy is worth more than just recognition. It calls for our dedicated and committed action to invest in the rural sector and ensure that the voices of rural women count and their contributions are duly recognized and valued. Keen attention, informed by evidence, must be paid to the agri value chains where women are predominantly present. Besides economic contributions, rural women cooperatives, village and voluntary saving and loan associations, as well as other local structures, provide a strong platform for promoting community well-being, resolving conflicts, as we heard from our illustrious couple, promoting social cohesion, learning and passing down the values and ethics of the people and the nation to the younger generation. These are all buffers for social solidarity, social protection, and resilience building. This value is often neglected. This day, dedicated to celebrating the rural woman, provides an excellent platform to recognize their invaluable contribution to our entire well-being, especially as most of us hail from the rural areas, raised by rural women, raised by rural solidarity. I am an example. I don't know about others. I am a very, very rural girl, born in a village, raised in a village, raised by a community to be who I am today, and rural women are bow to you today. In recognition of my mother, my grandmother, my aunties, my friends of the rural area that are promoting the development of our own countries. Rural populations, especially women, possess indigenous knowledge and wisdom that can inform us in managing our very much cherished environment. We know that climate change is impacting our environment so drastically, and women who interact with this environment on a daily basis have that knowledge, have that wisdom, have the experiences that we must tap into to be able to fight environmental degradation. And for us to do this, we need to document this knowledge and give it value. Your Excellency, distinguished audience, we all know that despite this contribution, rural women face enormous and numerous challenges. Based on evidence, Rwanda has opted to focus this day on accentuating financial support to rural women, because we know that amongst the many difficulties and challenges, rural women face a lot of difficulties in accessing financing. So the theme for today challenges us to seek durable solutions for rural women to be financially inclusive, access finance, use finance, but most especially for us as policymakers and development agents to invest in the sectors that will enable rural women do well. It is a call of action that reminds us to provide financial and non-financial support that is necessary for rural women empowerment. So investing in rural women means investing in our own future. It means providing access to education, access to health, access to land, and access to all what the rural woman needs, especially technology, to do the work that they do on a daily basis. So, we also need really to challenge some of the stereotypes that hold our communities back. These stereotypes cannot be challenged by the women themselves, but by everybody putting their hands together. Coming back to the theme, when we look into our development work, we find a number of opportunities that can enable us leverage financing, investment that can help the rural woman. The first that I can mention here is the climate financing mechanisms and facilities. At global level, including at country level, I know Rwanda is leading most of the other African countries in this area of climate financing. How are we engendering this climate financing to ensure, because when we talk of climate, the worst impact of climate is in our rural areas. How do we ensure that climate financing reaches the women down there? The second is financial literacy and financial inclusion amongst rural women. They do have their own models rural women are already promoting the Village Saving and Loans Association. How are we injecting knowledge and more money into this model that they do have to take it to scale, so that by giving them maybe just small guarantees, keeping guarantees funds in banks or microfinance institutions could help leverage money and loans to rural women to do the work they are doing in a better way. We also know that one of the things that hold women from their daily activities is unpaid care work. How do we increase investment in social infrastructure to make sure that time and resources are spared for women to do their work? And finally, we have an opportunity in Africa, the African Continental Free Trade Area. How are we preparing our women, connecting them by trade to be able to raise their money from their labor, from the work they do? How do we get these products to markets that can make money for rural women? This and many more, Your Excellency, are just some of the opportunities we can tap into and make sure that we transform lives of our rural women and give value to the work that they are doing for us. And to you, the rural women, as I said earlier, I doff my cap to you because you are doing a great job. And I'm happy that you are recognizing what government is already doing by providing to you the institutions, Ministry of Gender and Women's Promotion, the National Women's Council, the NGOs, the women in parliament. We can name them and go on and on. This is because of government policy that is in favor of your work. All I can do is to call on you to organize yourselves better so that you tap into these opportunities and these facilities and keep doing the work. You are versatile. You do a lot. You take care of children. You take care of food. You take care of the environment. You wear so many hats. And for that, we say thank you. And this, the rural women cannot do all by themselves. We call upon the men to give a supporting hand. We saw the illustrious couple, so I cannot go back to what they already said. We must work together to ensure that life is better for our rural population. That at big, I think we are more than 70% rural, so we cannot play with this part of a big part of our population. So, talking on behalf of the UN and our development partners, I can only but recommit our support to government, that we will keep working together to make the work of rural women lighter, to make their work recognized, to make it supported, so that they continue doing it to the betterment of all of us. And the UN, together with its partners, are already doing this in examples. We have the Rural Women Economic Empowerment Program that we are implementing with a number of local NGOs, but most especially under the leadership of the Ministry of Gender and the Ministry of Agriculture. And we are reaching and transforming lives for so many of our rural populations. So as we celebrate this International Rural Women's Day, let us not only recognize the remarkable contributions of the rural women, but also renew our commitment to their empowerment. By doing so, we pave the way for a more inclusive, just, and prosperous society, where rural women can continue to play their fundamental role in our collective journey towards a brighter future. Let us together cross communities to ensure that rural women have the technologies, the finances, the resources, and the support they need to thrive and make their valuable contribution to our sustainable lives. On this note, I just want to thank you and to continue to encourage our rural women to do the work they do, because it is very important.